Welcome, gentle viewer. Recently, Apprentice RJ asked if yours truly had read the entire Bible, and I was happy to answer quickly. I said no. That, of course, is the short answer. I've repeatedly studied the revelation of Jesus Christ, the third chapter of Genesis, and the Pauline epistles. I'm satisfied that the outline and many details of the book of Revelation are based on the European designations of the constellations, and I have concluded that the Garden of Eden demonstrates cause and effect. As for the Pauline epistles as a whole, I remain uncertain what St. Paul is attempting to communicate, and remain skeptical of those who claim to understand the Pauline epistles. However, I presume that my failure is based on my inadequate understanding, and not his teachings. Of course, this presumption is not certain. Although I'm familiar, to various degrees, with the Gospels, the Prophets, the Psalms, and the 613 laws, they are not interesting, and I have not attempted in-depth research on these subjects. I don't make a pretense that I've mastered either the Latin or the Greek languages. I've only researched certain words. In conclusion to this part, we can say that, to our chagrin, the brothers at ISU's fraternities know the Greek alphabet better than yours truly. When the general reader encounters the Constitution on my website, he may assume that I refer to the Constitution of the United States, unless the context suggests otherwise. Even without this assumption, the context will lead the reader to the reasonable conclusion that the topic is the U.S. Constitution. Therefore, a modifier should be used to clarify which Constitution is the topic of discussion, such as the United States or the Indiana Constitution. The interested researcher can examine the original U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and their facsimiles. There are many signatures on the Declaration and hundreds of sources that reference the signers, not only in the United States, but in England and France. The Founding Fathers paid taxes, bought and sold land, married, and engaged in commerce. In short, there is no viable reason to suggest that these gentlemen did not exist. Similar to the word Constitution, the Bible needs a modifier, if not several, to clarify which Bible version one is referencing and to exclude the other versions of the Bible. To write the King James Bible invites uncertainty. We cannot know which version is intended, the 1611 with the Apocrypha, or the 1769 version without the Apocrypha, or more recent versions. This uncertainty exists when we discuss the Latin and Greek texts. There are thousands of individual books of the Bible, all with omissions and additions. For example, Erasmus added the episode of the adulterous woman to the fourth Gospel in subsequent versions of his New Testament, and this fact indicates, as late as the 16th century, there was no standard text, lest he would be accused of changing sacred writ. Erasmus and Luther were free to add to the text, and in Luther's case, to move books to the end of his Bible. This ordering remains in Lutheran Bibles to this day. Evidence for the recent creation of the Bible is the fact of the addition of chapters and verses that occurred between 1551 and 1571. Historians expect the reader to believe that generations of scholars discuss biblical passages and search entire books without the benefit of quickly finding the chapter and verse. Although this scenario is possible, we believe it is highly unlikely, since the creation of chapters and verses occurred within 40 years of the printing of Erasmus's New Testament in 1516 and Luther's New Testament in 1522. Unlike the two founding documents of our republic, we cannot know when the individual books of the modern Bible were written. Any attempt to date the Gospels based on internal dating is impossible, as the modern understanding of the reign of Augustus Caesar or the governorship of Pontius Pilate references Scaliger's chronology, which did not exist before the 17th century. Although references to Augustus and Pilate seem authoritative, in reality it conveys nothing to the reader. Therefore, the general viewer can agree with Scaliger's opinion of history or place Augustus Caesar's reign during any epoch before the 16th century. Tradition designates the fourth Gospel as the Gospel according to St. John. However, the book does not indicate the author, so we cannot know who wrote it, and by extension, when it was written. Based on a lack of a nativity account, no indication of Jesus' hometown, no list of the apostles, no knowledge of Jesus' mother's name, no prophecies indicating a second coming, no ascension, no Lord's Prayer, and we suggest that this Gospel was not one of the last Gospels written, as modern scholars claim, but as one of the first written. We state that we dislike the Bible, if only because the term, like the interpretations of the text, invites misunderstanding and confusion. Uncertainty arises from not having one complete text, either in Latin or in Greek, that is truly ancient. The Vatican Codex was found in 1475, but lacks 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon, and Revelation. The Ephraim Codex is known from 1533, but a third of the New Testament cannot be read. The Alexandria Codex is known from 1621 and includes 1st and 2nd Clement, but is missing 31 leaves from the Gospel of Matthew, the Gospel of John, and 2 Corinthians. The Sinai Codex is known from 1844, but lacks many passages of the New Testament text. None of the 4 manuscripts regarded by scholars to be the oldest and best preserved are complete Bibles. Therefore, there was not a complete Bible with Old and New Testaments until 1534, when the Lutheran Bible was published. To arrive at a complete Bible, editors must pick and choose from various passages to create a Bible. This has been done since Erasmus's New Testament, and is known by any biblical researcher, but is generally unknown to laymen. To adequately answer Apprentice RJ's inquiry, we should have asked which version of the Bible, but not wanting to waste time answering no to thousands of versions, we answered no, since we have never read any version of the English Bible in its entirety. Although Apprentice Denver holds to the strange opinion that I seek to waste my time in various pointless pursuits, the truth is Capricorns are, by nature, time-sensitive, and as such, if I devote any effort, even with Apprentice Denver, it is not done whimsically or in vain, but at least one definite purpose, if not several. We quote Humpty Dumpty. When I use a word, it means just what I mean it to mean, neither more nor less. As we have discovered, the word Bible frequently means what the speaker chooses it to mean, neither more nor less. We recall that a certain occultist of the 20th century wrote that all previous religions lacked humor. However, the gentle viewer knows that irony is a type of humor. In conclusion, we quote from Proverbs chapter 26, verses 4 and 5. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. As always, price and participation vary. If the gentle viewer enjoyed our chat, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel.